Andino. This is my presentation for sports psychology for Mr. Tuttle for the Foothill College summer quarter. A competitive sports program. Ultimately, from my experience in sport in my past, playing soccer collegiately and dealing with the injuries that I experienced through that, I find, especially from taking this class, it's created a great way for me to kind of reflect on the things that I dealt with and also the things I would like to share from my experience. So coaching has always been something that I would love to do, especially in a competitive atmosphere, and because I know what it takes to be a successful athlete, as well as I know what it means to be almost too involved, too reliant on sport as well. So using those two kind of contrasts, it would be great to share that experience with others. So things that we're going to look over are core qualities, things that would be the root to my coaching style and adaptation are the things that, kind of the blueprint of what it would take to have a based off of authentic leadership. Um, Authentic leadership is really dedicated to kind of looking at the coach's self and practicing what you preach, making sure that whatever you're trying to teach the athletes, it's something that you value for yourself. Um, Important to live by and believe in the things you wish to teach your athletes. Being comfortable in your own skin is a main tool to that. It's something that is visible to athletes. It's something that they can tell is if you're being genuine or not. And being comfortable in your own skin, I think, is an important aspect of that. Aware of your own strengths and weaknesses. Pretty much that reflects on allowing kids to understand or athletes to understand that they're not going to be perfect at everything. And if you're okay with having weaknesses, that means that they may be okay with having weaknesses as well. Um, Allows them to maybe aspire to take chances, take risks, even at the risk of failure, and live through authentic actions. It's a great way that the book kind of explains, the practice what you preach, and it really allows you to kind of reflect on, as a coach, of how you want your athletes to act is the way that you should act as well. Style that I would enjoy portraying, inspired by the book, going through the optimal leadership behaviors, kind of started made me think about the things that I would like to to implement. And first, I love how it is lead yourself first. Leading yourself first is really the core of what authentic leadership is as well. Practicing what you preach, as well as what it does is it kind of implements kind of like core beliefs and things that you hope to implement for your team and what you hope for them to learn. Um, so what it made me think of is, and I've always been curious of what it takes for professional teams to be successful, and I look at a team such as the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick at the head of that, and you start hearing about the Patriot way, and that's one of the reasons that they win. And talk about core beliefs. The Patriot way really kind of reflects on things that I think are really important, such as manage your expectations. It's really a reflection on how you should look at things. Managing your expectations allows you to be prepared for anything. Being prepared for anything is important, so you aren't crippled by failure, or you're not affected by sloth due to victory. That management is a very key life lesson. Don't believe the hype and ignore the noise, or something I think are really dedicated to highly successful professional athletes. Um, it's important to not get your head too big. It's important to not allow people to bring you down either. So keeping that even keel is something that I think really is predicated by speak for yourself. Speak for yourself is a great way to just realize that the only thing that you can control are the things that you can do, and speaking for yourself is a ultimate description of that. So pretty much that really kind of gives me the base of how I would want to teach my team. Providing a roadmap, connecting, empowering, cultivating. All of those things are based off of what your authentic leadership would be and your core beliefs. Especially the connection is going to be huge with getting kids more involved and engaged. Leadership. I think this is really important with getting kids prepared to kind of get into the real world, or if they're professionals, getting prepared to how to deal with situations outside of athletics. Formal roles are pretty self-explanatory with people being captains, or one thing I think is really important to focus on is the role ambiguity. It's really important as a coach to make sure people are all involved or engaged. Even the last guy on the bench, it's important that they feel like they're part of the team. So giving them roles is always a beneficial thing to kind of implement. Managing injuries, a huge thing here, especially with my experience with injuries. I've had 4 ACL reconstructive injuries due to sport. It was a very trying time, considering those are 4 consecutive years, and if I had the type of guidance that in prevention, in reducing anxiety and things like that, I think it would have made a big difference. So it's something that I would really want to focus on, is giving athletes the tools of how to prevent injury, especially with reducing stress, and making sure that they're involved even if they're hurt. Keeping them involved is something that will allow them to realize that sport isn't just about being on the field. It's about kind of the camaraderie and the teamwork that we're developing, and the friendships that we develop. I just threw some quotes down on here about Benjamin Franklin and Phil Collins. Both of them just really keep it simple with what they're trying to implement. And the picture here is of Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells. And Bill Belichick is one of the best coaches that we've ever seen, most successful at least. And that's not because he did it all himself. He had wise men like Bill Parcells teaching him, and down the coaching tree. Those are things that are important to kind of share to others, and also be willing to learn from others. So that's all I have today. Really enjoyed learning during this entire class. I had a bunch of fun kind of getting deeper into the psychology of things, and I look forward to maybe taking the next step in coaching.